Bam. Oh lord, what's happening here, Connor? What's going on? What is this?
Working.
Is this? No, I'm just saying. Is this something
Oh.
new we're recording or what's going on? Come on, man, I'm trying to be fucking professional here. You're acting the bollocks. You try and be quirky, look. No. What's up, lads? Let me get my smooth radio voice on. What's up, guys? Yeah, welcome to this new. Well, it's not really a new. We've done podcasts, a million of them, but we kind of need to change the format because COVID happened. You can't talk to musical guests if you can't meet up with them. So this is just a little section we're gonna call Late Night Rambles, where probably once a week or whenever if anything mad happens in the world, we're just gonna talk shite and vent because it's nice to just put your opinions out there, no matter how wrong they might be a week later, because that happened to us so many times. News changes. News changes quick.
Stop.
Oh man, we put some fucking conspiracies out there and everything by an accident in the last ones. I think we started some rumours. Oh shit. Yeah, this is called Late Night Rambles, where basically the gist of this podcast is just we're just gonna talk. We're gonna say whatever we want, unfiltered. Well, filtered it a little bit because you can't say too crazy shit without getting yourself in trouble 5 years down the line. You know, we've all seen it happen.
Yeah.
Only God knows what's going to be illegal to say in 5 years. You might not be able to say
Oh,
what you
stop.
want, or you know.
Andrew Tate.
Oh, we can't even say his name. Might get arrested in
No.
5 years for saying his name. That's
True,
fucked
yeah.
now. Oh, I didn't say you're fucked. Yeah, we might touch on some music stuff in this too, but we might not. Literally this is whatever the hell. It's whatever is in the title is basically the chunk of what's going to be happening here. But we'll have I always do timestamps for these anyway, so you can just skim to wherever you want to. And don't think we've forgotten about the bootleg podcast. We're in the process of a very good musical transformation here, where we've an EP out and all that with all this stuff in place, and yes, we want to get some musical artists on to talk and shit. Which, as I was saying in the music diary, hint hint, if you want to go back and listen to that on the other section thing, we might have someone who can help us attain people, if you know what I mean, Connor. He might be able to help us with that because he's a very go-getter and shit.
Yeah.
So yes, now we
That
can
would be
actually get
brilliant.
into it now. So we can actually get into it. Do you want to start, Connor? Will I start?
Yeah.
Will I start or
I'll-
will I start?
I'll start here.
Walk away.
Yeah, I suppose the one thing on my mind is, did you see the Taylor Hawkins gig commemorating him?
I
You watched
didn't.
that
I
on
didn't
YouTube
actually.
the other day?
I didn't watch it yet.
Oh,
No,
really?
not yet. Heard
It's
a lot of
really
good things
good.
about it though.
So
Heard a lot of
good.
Things, yeah.
I honestly got emotional, but yeah, it was really good. They had Liam Gallagher play, who was actually so much better than Noel Gallagher. Controversial.
Yeah.
They had a lot. They had a load of people. They had Travis Baker. They had Nile Rodgers. They had Mark Ronson. A load of those.
Damn.
But I think the biggest highlight was at the end of the night. Taylor's son came up and played My Hero. And my God, the
Christ.
guy can fucking play drums. But it was emotional. But
Man,
I was
that's,
like,
yeah.
it was like, that was hard going. And like, he put so much energy into it. I was like, Jesus. But it did make me think. Like, I saw an article, and they were talking about Taylor and basically Dave, and they were saying how like the problem with the Foo Fighters towards the end is they were basically touring too much and they had no life.
Oof.
And they
I
were
was actually
saying,
gonna say that too.
yeah, they were saying towards the end, the last 2 years they did 200 gigs, so that's a gig every 3 days in a different country. Imagine that
Man.
now.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna just be like, I have an unpopular opinion. I think fucking
Yeah.
Dave Grohl is half responsible for that man's death.
Yeah,
Because
I
Dave
think so
Grohl,
too,
he
unfortunately.
is a go-getter. Like he's been non-stop. Like there's actually, do you remember? He nearly died himself because he didn't sleep for 3 days and just kept drinking caffeine and recording. Like the fella is
Yeah.
nuts. I mean, you can respect
No.
the work ethic, but man, not everyone is like you. And I'm like, man,
Yeah.
what if Taylor Hawkins is like, I have to keep playing here. I'm not letting people down and shit. And
Yeah.
I don't know what the toxicology reports were because I've seen a load of conflicting stuff. I said there was an article that said, oh, we had 10 different types of drugs in the system, and I had one article that said, oh, he died of natural cause. Like, it was very confusing for the minute. I don't know what the official thing is. I think the official thing is that he was taking drugs and he died.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're away from your family most of the year and you're fucking just
Yeah, you're gonna, like-
workhorse, you're gonna end up
Yeah.
burnt out, and you basically need them. You need drugs to fucking
To
keep your
survive,
sanity,
yeah.
basically, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's the same story you get from millions of artists. not well say
Oh,
millions.
stop.
I'm sorry. I'm saying the biggest artists
Thousands.
always end up in
Yeah.
some sort of precarious situation like that because it's too much
Yeah.
work. It's too much to expect of a human being. It's a
Yeah.
lot of pressure. You know.
That's way too much. Like, I think what people don't understand as well with like gigging and touring and stuff, it's not the fact of playing every night. It's the fact of traveling to different countries. You have jet lag. You have,
It's a lot.
you
It's a
know,
lot.
your diet. Like, you think about it, you're on tour. You're eating fucking shite. You're drinking a lot. Like, it's not
Yeah.
a great way to live for a long period of time. And it's just like it's hard going. Like, but
I'd say it's the equivalent of being in the army, except people like you aren't all. It's kind of like being in the army. You're away so long from your family, and
Yeah.
you're isolated, and you're kind of
Yeah.
with a band of people who you consider family. Like our family. But now imagine not being trained in discipline. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Obviously, people in the army, you get boot camp, you get trained to be disciplined, and you're not going to do drugs because your cause is different. But when you're
Yeah.
surrounded by the whole culture, like it might seem like it's not as bad as it was, as in like drug culture and all that. It's not the same as it was in the 70s and 80s and 90s. It's just it's the same. This
It's the
this kind of
exact same.
proved it, as in like you wouldn't have even known he was doing drugs until he fucking died. Like even Prince, you wouldn't have even known Prince was doing drugs until he died, and he was in his bleeding
Yeah.
60s. Like
Yeah.
it's just fucking you don't realize it's not as talked about. It's not as glamorized as much as in it was half glamorized in the 70s and the 80s, being like, oh, we did so many drugs, and like Motley Crue and on it. It's a bit of a like what would you call it, like not revered, but it's like what's that word for it again? Not admired. It's kind of like it's I don't know what the word is, but people understand what I'm trying to get at. But it's
Yeah.
it's not like that now. Where if you come out and said, "Oh, I'm doing speedballs, I'm doing heroin and cocaine, and I'm touring very heavy," everyone would be like, "Whoa, shit! You maybe better stop. You'd like that's not good." People would be actually worried about you. Back then, it's not really the same thing. It's kind of like, oh, that's just what you do. So that's why it's kept kind of a fucking like everyone. What was it again? The fellow in Metallica, James Hetfield, he literally became an alcoholic again only a couple of years ago. He was back in rehab
Yeah.
again, and he's in his fucking mid-60s or something now. Like it still happens. Like it's such a hard job, like to be honest, and fuck that. Like what was it? How many gigs was it a year? 200 and what? 260 something or something. Was it?
220 or 40, I think it was.
Oh, bollocks
It's
to that. Can you
ridiculous,
imagine the
like-
burnout of that? Like seeing that amount
no.
of people every day and
No,
having to do
for, like,
interviews and fuck.
For 6 months, it was a gig every 3 days. Every 3 days,
Jesus.
and that's not like a US tour. That's like a tour globally across the world. That's ridiculous.
I know
like.
they played in South America a lot as well, which it's rough going. You know, it's a big country, big fucking country.
Yeah.
I tell you what though, rest in peace to that's what a massive talent, just gone. Fucking
Oh
gone.
yeah, no.
What a waste,
One
man.
of-
Holy shit.
Like honestly,
Depressing.
probably my biggest influence as a drummer, Taylor Hawkins, just because I feel like he was one of those drummers where, like everything he does, like he never really overplayed, but he added something to the song without overplaying, and like
Oh yeah, he knew where he was, like he knew where to go and
Yeah.
where not to go. Yeah, even though he was that talented, he probably just could have did solos for 40 minutes, but it doesn't work. Obviously,
No.
he's a musician at the end of the day. He plays for the song, which I think that's way more important.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about him. I respected. Like a lot of people say, oh, like JD Beck or any of those like really good drummers at the moment are the best in the world, but it's like they're class drummers, but they don't play for the song. Like they're solo drummers. Like that's what they do. They're
Yeah.
like they're still great at what they do, but they don't put it this way. Like My Hero or like any of those songs, you would know literally just by the drums. You'd know what song that is.
That's rare as
Like-
well, yeah. That's rare.
Yeah,
that's actually
that's
in that
rare.
song, My Hero. That's one of the great drumming parts in that song. Is literally on when it goes, the guitar goes, but the drums
Yeah.
are going, like it's just fucking. There's a fill going
Yeah.
on behind it, and it's that's great.
It's so good.
Even one of my favorite actual drum parts of any song ever is actually in Everlong. Jordan, the chorus part,
Yeah.
is doing the fills. And everything had ever been this way for like the little fills are just fucking. It's enough.
So
Like
good.
it's not like you're not. Doesn't take you out of the song, but it's such a skillful piece right there, and it fucking
Yeah.
fits, man. It's appreciated.
Yeah.
Like goddamn, that's a guitar player that's appreciating that shit. It's transcendent. You can be. It's like a great guitar player or a great singer. You can, like opera
Yeah.
singers are amazing, but you don't transcend. You like it's that weird
Yeah.
level of what to put in to appease everyone and to be liked your music. It's hard to put into words, but I think I'm conveying it as best I can. Anyway, it's like if you look at a guitar player, right? Slash, obviously, he made some amazing songs, but if you put him against fucking Joe Satriani, let's say, Joe Satriani is a way better player. You can say he's one of the greats of all time, or whatever. But Slash still makes better music, if you know what I mean. Yeah, like he's a better player for songs, you know. It's it's miserable. Actually, I'm shocked you said that. Well, actually, I'm not shocked. I would agree with you that Liam Gallagher probably was better than Noel Gallagher, just in general. Yeah, I think he's just better in general. I don't really like Noel Gallagher's songs.
I just think Liam's actually so talented and so underrated compared to Noel. Like, I think some of the stuff
I think Noel's songs are boring. I think they're very
so
boring. They're very dull.
Yeah, they're just like, I don't know. They're like, they have a formula and they obviously work, but like, I don't know. They're not out there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I think it's sad when you can tell that the two of them just have a chemistry where when the two of them play music together, the songs are way better. Like, it's just shit that they don't. Like, it's so annoying. Like, oh, what a fucking waste. Like, it's so irritating. Yeah. God damn it. Yeah, what's it? It's Liam Gallagher's band is BDI, isn't it? And then Noel is BDI. Noel Gallagher and the Fly Behind Boards or something, isn't it?
Yeah,
something like that.
One,
yeah. I'm not a fan. The songs are just fucking a bit bland. I just prefer a bit of edge that the other fella has. The Liam, like, has a bit of an edge. The other fella is very clean cut and drones on a bit when he's singing. I don't know. Just prefer the other one.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. I know a lot of people actually say the opposite. They go, "Oh, he's an arsehole." I'm like, he is an arsehole, but you can be an arsehole and still be good at music. You can be both. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the thing. It's usually the arseholes that are good at music, to be honest.
Yeah, which is annoying. Yeah, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. If you're too nice, you don't really get anywhere, man. It's all the bollocks. You have to have an edge or something, you know. Fuck man. Yeah, speaking of fucking, I haven't even got this written down. I just want to off topic. Let's say, have you noticed a lot of Irish bands have gone super quiet. A lot of the ones that were kind of prevalent that I seen that were like on the scene, let's say, they've all gone very quiet now.
That's true. I've seen
two of them I seen broke up. One of them like half disbanded, and the other one is just incognito, as in like having a shift in them. So I don't know what's going on in terms of like fucking Irish bands and all that. And it's just a bit dead at the minute, to be honest. And it's mad seeing like the bands that were around that were, let's say, doing more than us, let's say, but we are still here and our shit is better. It just is better. I've gotten some serious faith, man.
Oh no, I do as well.
We've been together longer than them. Even though our journey is slower, we're not going anywhere. Like, we'll get there, I think, in the end.
Let's put it this way: we're not doing all this work for nothing.
Exactly, yeah, and it's slow and steady, but slow and steady has proved profitable now
all the time
for us. Yeah, the stuff we release now is really good, and the response is mad. And oh man, just some of the shit I've seen is like some people are like, "I'm throw a band together, and I want to make it an album now." And you're like, well, you don't even know if he's gel. You don't know what the fuck he's even making. And you release shit, and you're like, why does no one like it? This is stupid. I'm like, no one likes it because you spent a year together. You didn't even know how to even play together. What the fuck's going on with you? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Bullshit. Man, your topic there was very good. Mine's all very bleeding serious, man. Mine's about like recessions. Well, hold on, Connor. I have a conspiracy for you. If you want to hear the conspiracy.
Yeah, go for the conspiracy.
And it's now it might sound a bit boring, but if anyone's listening, hang in there because it gets juicy, right? Because I think the Irish government are fucking with people at the minute, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. Let's talk about the housing crisis in quotations, yeah. And I'm gonna talk about why I don't think there is a crisis. I think there's a student placement crisis, not a housing crisis, not a house for sale. Housing pricing crisis. Price crisis maybe, but only in Dublin, because if you move anywhere out of Dublin, the price, like, right, let me get into this, right. So there's an issue with people trying to rent, obviously, yeah, but as I'm saying, all the horror stories that they're putting in the newspapers are like, right, there was a story like 2 weeks ago where it was like, and this is going to link into the refugee crisis as well, which I think they did it on purpose, right, to make it look worse than it is. They're like the crisis, right. So there was a house that was going for rent, right? Which they didn't specify who was trying to rent it or what the rent was actually for, right? So this was during peak student season, where the students are having trouble now because all the refugees have the student houses and they're refusing to live. They don't want to live, which I agree with, which means you shouldn't have gave them a place somewhere which they couldn't stay. It's fucked up to do that as a government. You should have known that this war isn't going to end in 2 months, they're going to go home. It's not, they'll be here for years. So you can't put them in places then say, oh, you have a job now, you settled it, yeah, move, you're down to Santry now. Like, the miles out in your job and all that's fucked up for the government to do. I fucking mad pity for them, right? But, right, so the government basically owns the renting market in Ireland. There's, what is it, 90% of the TDs are all landlords and shit, yeah? And there was a fella, one of the TDs was actually got in serious trouble because he owned like 4 properties or something like that, right? He was a landlord, right? And I forget his fucking name. I'd love to get his name just to slate him a bit more. And he resigned now, and he refused to even talk to media or talk to anyone, right? So what he did, I don't know if you've seen it on the newspaper, but what he did was right, he was on the committee for raising rent prices. How fucking dodgy is that? How dodgy is that? And he knew it wasn't feasible, but he was still trying to push the show. Like, what a cunt. Right, sorry for cursing everyone, but I don't give a shit, right? This isn't for kids, this podcast. Right. So, they control the market, they put out all these stories, so they released this horror story of like, oh, the rental market is so mad, and that's why the prices have to go up because of the demand, you know, because you have to put the prices up because the demand is there for them, you know. I'm like, there's no fucking demand, this is all student shit, this is the issues that you created by placing refugees, right, which there wasn't enough space for here in the first place, into student accommodation. Now, the students can't rent, so the students are trying to rent houses. Like, there's 4 of them trying to split, which is also too expensive for students to rent. You need 2 jobs to even afford fucking rent, right? So the whole campaign, the whole story that they had been like, oh, the market is very bad, look at this. There was a queue for like about 300 people trying to rent a house in South Dublin. It was all students trying to rent for student accommodation because the government fucked up and they're trying to blame it on the housing market as if it's like homeowners' issue. It's not. There's fucking thousands of houses for sale and they're not all for fucked up prices. Like, it's not, they're not extremely attainable at the minute. But I mean, obviously, listen, if you're anywhere in the middle of Dublin, it's like fucking New York now. Unless you come from your house or something like that, you're not gonna be able to afford it. You're just gonna have to move down the sticks, down out the border counties and all that. Yeah, it's just the way it's happening at the minute. It's unfortunate, but it happens in every big metropolis city. It's going to happen here. And it's already happened. Yeah. But the fact that the media are trying to turn it but ipso facto, right, they're creating a false crisis with all this media, drumming up the media to make more stories about this crisis, which is actually a renting crisis for students, so that they can fuck the market up even more, put the perception out there, make people more cautious on buying houses, which means the houses are still staying there. They're putting the prices up even more on the rents and on the prices of houses. They're causing a false fucking... but they're in control of the media, and they're also in control of the student rent thing. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say here? Like, they're in control of all that. Makes a lot of sense, yeah. They control the narrative and the product. Like, what the fuck?
Yes. Yeah.
What? And then, man, I seen this. Oh my god, I'm gone full Eddie Bravo here, right? I'm sorry, right? I talked about this before, right? And it pisses me off. There was an ad, a fucking funded ad by RTE. Yeah, they released it twice, right? And the ad was like, it was a picture of an old woman, and she's all smiling, and she's like, oh, I have a fucking 3-bedroom house, I'm 62, I live alone, and I think it's great, I rented to students during the summer, and it's amazing, you take them in, I let them use my kitchen, like, once a day, and on the weekends, they get to go home to their families, it's amazing. I'm like, you're trying to... What the fuck? You're trying to sell people on this? You're trying to sell people to please let people into your houses because we fucked up. Look how good it is. This person did it. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? What the fuck? Oh my god.
Like that person's worked all their life to fucking get a house, and then they're like, oh yeah, you should rent out. They're making them feel bad. It's the same thing like with students and stuff. They're literally like, as you said, they want a lot of people to put in students.
Take people
stuff.
in.
It's like,
take strangers into your house. Like, how about you take them into your houses, man? What the fuck, yous? The fuck, like. You literally, if you had any ounce of fucking self-respect or any ounce of like sympathy for the crisis you've created, right, you would go, I owned all these properties, right, I'm going to lower the rents on the properties that I owned just to justify, because I already get a massive wage anyway, just to justify and to at least make it look like you're trying to fucking help. What the oh man, even right, even the idea that here's an incentive for you. Oh, you can get €200 if you let Ukraine refugees live in your house. It's great. They'll come in, you get €200 a month. Mate, the prices. Yeah, they're gonna fucking. Mate, you let them live in your room, you get £200 a month. Yeah, that won't even cover the energy bill. That won't cover anything. You have an extra 5 people living in your downstairs, yeah, which is water, electricity, fucking gas, everything. You think, like, it's not enough money. How is that even an incentive? Like, what the... Man, my mind is blown by all this fucking bullshit. They took all these refugees in, knowing that there's no space for them, put them in fucking student accommodation. Now the refugees are like, well, we don't want to fucking leave this year. We're settled here. You got us jobs being like, oh, we'll settle you in, it's grand, you'll get your PPS number, your medical card. And now you're being like, oh, yeah, now get out of Dublin, by the way, because the students are back. You have to get the fuck out of here. And now, like, well, how am I supposed to get to my job that's 8 miles away? And now I'm living in a floor of a hotel with 40 people, and I have to get up for work in the morning and make my way down. Like, what the fuck is that they're doing to these people? It's atrocious. Like, it's a fucking. That's literally. That has to be some sort of fucking crime that had to come in there or something. Like, oh man, me mind is melted by all this. Like, it's fucking wild. Sorry if I go on mad conspiracy, but if they literally control the narrative and they control the product, you're creating a false fucking narrative. Like, here, and then you're trying to sell people. Like, expect us to take them in. Like, what? How we can't afford that. Like, even if we couldn't afford it. The fuck, man. No, rant over. Sorry, had to get it out.
I don't even think that's a conspiracy, though. I think that's pretty factual. Like, obviously, they own apartments and stuff themselves that they're selling, so they obviously want to get more money from them. Like, it's all a business marketing thing. Like, it's illegal. It's like there's a reason. There should be a law here, like in America. There's a law where if you are in any type of politics or senate, right, you will obviously have people, public funders and all that, which they'd be big companies. Like, it'd be like lobbyists, which means Google will come and say, try and push this law. Here you go. That's why you're not allowed to buy their stocks, because you know when their company's gonna dip months before anyone else does. You know all their moves, so it's illegal for you to own, sell, or trade, or have insider information. It's called insider information. You can't have it. You can't use it. But here you can. Oh, I owned all the rent and properties. So let's put the rent up. This is great. I work as a politician. Let's increase our wages. I vote that we should definitely increase my wage. Obviously, you're gonna fucking vote for it. What the fuck? How is that not illegal? I don't understand. It's wild. Fucking wild. Yeah, it's fucked.
Bananas. Fucking bananas altogether. And mate, I'm telling you out straight, there is. Sorry, I'm getting very boring now, but there is a fucking recession coming. Man, the price of energy has like tripled. What the fuck is going on? And nobody can afford that. Anyone that's been on a middle income now is classed as a lower income. Anyone that's a lower income, they're probably going to be fucking homeless now. Or just not have heat, or your choice between heat or food. Mate, if this winter is bad, we're going to see a lot of old people dying. Like, a lot. Yeah. They literally cannot afford it. Like, even, no matter what incentive. Remember the incentive at the start of last year? Oh, we'll give you €200 once off payment.
Oh yeah, which was nothing.
How is that going to do me for a year when my bill went from €200 to €1,400 now in the space of a year, Connor? That's I was seeing some of the comments on Facebook, right? There's a fellow, right? His gas bill was like 280 quid last year, right? Then I went up in last January for some reason, because he went, it's up by 25, 50% or something. So I'm doing 500 quid. His was up to like €1,600. That's like, it's fucking. And it's not as if there's even a shortage of energy. There's no shortage going on. There's no crisis going on here. It's a false crisis. There's been no stoppage of fuel or resources coming here. It hasn't happened. So it's like they're putting the price up on the, in case something happened. Like, I don't understand what's going on. How the prices went up. It makes no fucking sense.
It happened originally with like diesel when they couldn't get access in Ukraine, but now we get our supply from somewhere else. Like, so it's a different scenario altogether. Like.
why can't right the UN just admit that the sanctions failed? Why can't America admit sanctions failed? UK, Ireland, everyone, admit your sanctions failed. They didn't work. You caused a crisis here. That's what you fucking did. That's what you did, and it didn't work. They're still selling their oil. They're just selling it to fucking India. Like,
the thing is, though, with energy prices, they're going up everywhere. It's not just Ireland. So you could argue that maybe there is a shortage, or because like in the UK, for example, it's the same with price. Like, inflation has never been higher in the UK at the moment. Like, there's a load of
I agree with
things going on.
I agree with inflation, but an inflation where a company is making 300% profits, that's not inflation. You're not losing any money. There's nothing. If inflation is right, you increasing your price to keep your profits the same, as in you don't go into any type of deficit or anything like that. Or lose business or lose staff. Right? This isn't happening. You've increased your profits 300%.
Yeah.
In the past 6 months, like, you're not losing money. It's fucked, man.
I don't even think that's an Irish thing. I think that's literally just those companies, all those big oil companies being like, you know what, fuck it, we can charge whatever the fuck we like, you know, because everywhere it's more expensive now, and there's literally no reason for it. It's like one company does it, and then the other, they probably tell the other company, it's like, look, we're going to charge up our prices, you might as well, and then they have this monopoly where they're all the same price. So like there's literally, like, there's no choice, so it's ridiculous.
And they're all, do you know, they're all run by the same group of family.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
that controls all the oil and all that. It's all the same it's all the same family that's been doing it for like the past 150 years or something. That goes down mad rabbit holes when you look into that. That's some crazy shit. Crazy fucking
Yeah.
shit. Like, they have massive power. Oh, they can dip an economy if they want to, like, and they have kind of now, because everything's gone kaput. But why
Yeah.
can't we just admit and say, right, here's how we're gonna save the Irish people, because people are gonna die here and they're gonna fucking starve. We taking refugees now. We can't even house or feed or keep warm now, right? How about we go, Russia? Your sanctions are off. Sell your oil to wherever the fuck you want. Can we please buy some oil? We're not at war with you. Why can't you just? Why you have this? Sanctions have not affected them. They've been more aggressive. It's done nothing. Like, they're not stopping. They're not going to stop. Russia. Like, his plans. He's already said it. Being like, I'm not stopping. I'm just going to take it. Eventually, one of us is going to end here. And man, and
Yeah.
this leads me down another rabbit hole. Right, I'm half convinced now that the EU and America are sitting there looking at Russia, going, "That's it. Keep attacking them. That's it. Get weaker and weaker. Get weaker and weaker. You keep using all your resources. Waste all your ammunition. Waste all that, and then swoop
Yeah.
in and go, haha, we're gonna join now and help you now when Russia is weaker." That's what I think's gonna happen. I think someone's gonna step in eventually, because it is gonna end on some sort of nuclear fucking strike, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's gonna end up with something mad going on. Like, I can fucking, it's just going that way. Like, I feel like someone's finger is on the button somewhere, bro. I don't fucking know.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if the US or UK or any of those got involved, it would be over in seconds, because they have access
Buttons on
to
the nukes, boy,
these
yeah.
military grade weapons. But yeah, I don't know. It's unfortunately with every war, it's always over fucking resources or some stupid bullshit. But
Just fucked up, man. Did
yeah,
you
like
hear what Zelensky said, by the way, in his press conference thing there like 2 days ago? Did you hear what he said?
What did he say? No, what did he say?
He said, Europe, prepare for a dark winter. That's what he said. Like, the whole of Europe, because he knows that fucking, I don't know what's going on, mate. I've seen no proof of any shortage of any fuel or electricity supplies here. Yeah, I've seen no proof. But the government has said, I can probably expect blackouts. I'm like,
Yeah.
how? I don't understand how. I don't understand what the fuck's happening here. I don't get it. Explain to me how it's going to be blackouts if there's no fucking supply issue. I don't understand. You haven't come out and said there is a supply issue. You've just said it's going to be blackouts.
I'm not a big fan of Zelensky, mainly because, like, anything you do, he's not grateful at all, and he just blames Europe for a war that has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of Europe. Like, and the thing is, he does realise, like, obviously at some stage we probably will get involved, but if we do get involved, it'll start a fucking world war. Like, so it's not as easy as just like, oh yeah, we'll start. Like, Russia's a big fucking country.
Yeah.
If it was a small ass country, wouldn't give a fuck, but it's Russia. Russia has shit, like.
It's
You
not.
know, and
Yeah,
once-
it's not as easy.
I once,
easy as that.
I once the most dangerous thing to, like, what they could do, and I know they are in talks with China. If Russia and China get together, fuck, that's a war. World war, simple as. Like,
Literally, that's East versus West.
yeah,
That's it.
'Cause
That's
China
the whole
has-
war is kaput.
China has what, 2 billion people, something like that, 1.8,
Probably.
2 billion.
But most of them are
Ridiculous.
starving to death, man. They've what's
True.
called the false economy. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know the way in Ireland we have like a 1% like is really rich, and then like
Yeah.
70%, like, no one in Ireland starves to death. Like, over there,
Yeah.
like the 1% is literally like the middle class doesn't really exist. It's literally extreme poverty or you're rich, kind of in
Yeah.
China.
Oh,
It's really
100%,
fucked
yeah.
up over. So if they were to go to war, I feel like we'd be okay. I mean, they do have like capabilities though. Like, obviously their tech and their weapons are very good, but manpower wise, I mean, you're gonna send out starving people to fight. They're not moralized. They're not gonna. They don't want to fight. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. True,
you can't convince them either. You're gonna tell starving people, take up arms from me, please. They'll just go, no, fuck off. That's what the Russians did when they ousted Stalin. They were like, fuck, the fuck's happening here? No, fuck it, we don't want this. You know? And the Italians did it as well. They went, what the fuck's happening here, man? The fuck dictators going on and shit. He didn't help us.
We just
No,
wanna
it
eat
is scary
pizza,
to
man.
think about, though, isn't it? And actually,
it's
do you know, Russia was running drills again off the coast of West Cork. There was a
Yeah.
couple of England and I think it was France. I know England and Germany sent out ships to monitor Russian ships on their coast, because they were. And now, remember, it was a big deal last time. Remember,
Yeah.
it was all in the news and all that, being like, oh, well, they did it
Yeah.
again, but except this time it was a little article. It wasn't on big news for some reason. That's suspicious to me. Very fucking weird. Very weird.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. Tensions are still very high. I mean, when did that start? I think it's been going on for like about 4 months now, is it? 6 months? 3 months? 4 months?
It's
Something like
longer.
that.
I don't even know.
Jesus
A long
Christ.
feels like ages. but
Feels like it's been going on forever, doesn't it? Literally just feels like it's
Yeah.
always been happening or something.
Feels like
Fucking
years.
weird, man. So fucking weird. How long have we run here?
We're
Shit,
on
maybe we should
30
cut this one
minutes.
off. We've been
Yeah,
we've been waffling for ages, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you want to say anything else, Connor, before I sign us off? Or?
No, yeah, this is like our different little ranty podcast, I suppose. But expect a few interesting topics to touch on. And if you have any
I think next week
suggestions, as
I'll
usual, let you leave
100%,
them in the comments or
yeah.
whatever.
Let us know, yeah. I think next week I'll talk about just kind of some lighthearted shit.
Yeah.
Know?
Yeah,
So,
this one was dark.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember that's what used to happen? We used to make the bootleg and it'd just be dark topics all the time. We'd be like, oh,
stop,
fuck, someone got murdered again. You're like, oh, not again. Fuck's sake. Rest in peace, Taylor Hawkins. Legend. Gone, but not forgotten. Rest in peace, all Ukrainians. Shout out, Welsh lads. That's all I got.
And hopefully housing crisis gets better.
Hey, that doesn't exist, by the way. Just saying. I'm fully convinced it doesn't exist. Right, come on. We'll catch you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this. And good night, God bless, because people usually listen to these in the night time. So, see you later. Peace.
Bye.